of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
That's you.
Good afternoon and good evening and welcome to an A.H.A.D moment, the calm before the storm. I'm your host, Minister A.H.A.D. And with me always I have partner of faith, Holy Apostle Dane Salim, Holy Queen Mother Reb Salim, and our brother mission, Brother Fakir Abdul-Aziz. But we wish the Lord's peace and the blessing be with his presence. And those watching this program, may the Lord's peace and the blessing be with and about your presence as well. We're going to discuss something this evening on this program that I think those, especially those in the Islamic communities in particular, but those in religion in general, may appreciate what the Lord is sending down in this day. A.H.A.D has sent down a question, when people approach the religion that A.H.A brought down, Islam, for example, and the reaction to the commands of the Lord Most High, which is inclusive in his holy books and his covenant, his agreement that's sent down at the different times, even to this period of the day. And how people have a tendency to go into the religion or accepting the religion and then don't want to obey or follow the strict course of the law that A.H.A sent down, as well as those who don't want to, the trial that A.H.A sent down. For example, the Quran, Allah says, don't say you believe won't be tried, won't be tested, and what it sends down to you. And many people in religion that come to this way have a hard time once they accept the religion to follow what A.H.A sent down of his guidance, and at the same time fail many of the trials that take place within their own lives. So with that being said, Holy Apostle, Holy Queen Mother, we're going to discuss that idea that what A.H.A sent down today, what people have a tendency may gain and learn by the end of this program.
You want to go first? There is a misconception in religion about, like how to approach it, and also how to be, like your relationship with the law.
Right.
For instance, there's something that Iza gave me this morning. You have people in Islam who says that they're going to take their shahada,
Oath of witness bearing.
their oath of witness
Right.
bearing, right? And they take it, and that's part of the introduction or
Right.
coming in of your Islamic religion. And then you have another people who say that they are witnesses of A.H.A,
Okay.
Jehovah's Witnesses,
Right.
and they are the Christian faction who say they witnessed A.H.A. Now, I stand to say that your oath of witness bearing, physically,
Okay.
should be every time you make your physical prayers.
Right. Right.
That's
Okay.
your
Okay.
oath. You should reinforce your oath of witness bearing every time. You say, I bear witness that Allah is this, that, and the
Right.
other.
Right.
And you should recognize that that's an oath of witness bearing. That's your shahada every day.
Yeah.
5 times a day, or how many times a day you make your prayers.
Right. Okay.
If we speak in English, we could better understand what we're doing and what we're supposed to be doing. But because we don't speak, the Muslims don't speak in English, the African American Muslims they speak part English, part Arabic. What can we call it? A.H.A.D.
Right.
Like Spanglish,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not in English, and it's not Arabic, but it's mixed.
Right.
And then they get thrown off. You understand? The other thing is, in order to be a witness of something, it's something that you have to see or experience.
Okay. Right. Right.
Huh? And be able to authenticate what you see or experience by relating that back to someone, verbalizing, mentalizing, or writing it, or authoring it in written form, to recall what you witnessed.
Right.
Now, if you get deep into those who say they are witnesses of Allah, or A.H.A, or Jehovah, how far can they go with witnessing A.H.A? Because just like you got Christians that say that Jesus is their companion and their friend, But they don't know Jesus.
Right.
Jesus don't relate to them, and they don't relate to the physical being of Jesus, or the materialized being of Jesus.
Right.
You understand? See, Allah, Jehovah has a materialized being as well. People don't look at the Lord as having a materialized being. But it materializes its being, whether it materializes it in its voice, the essence of its voice, or if it materializes in its presence where it touches you, manifests itself as a force that you can feel. See, you have physical in all aspects. You have the physical in the material, the physical in the spiritual, physical in the mental. That's materialization. And A.H.A.D, Allah, Jehovah, Amen, has the ability to materialize itself in whatever it wants to materialize itself in. So in order for you to be a witness of Jehovah in truth, you have to see its materialization.
Now, on that same note, Holy Apostle, again, I usually bring you back to what has always been calling spirituality.
Yes.
People don't want to deal in the unseen realm. So people who accept Islam, Christian, whatever faith they come into, and then you speaking one from the essence or experience of the Lord touching you, upon you being the angel's presence being there, then you speak that one to someone else who's of your faith, but then they say, brother, you spook back to the spook down. I can't relate what you're saying.
Yeah, that's not Islam, that's not this, that, the other.
But the Lord said it's going to speak to man, like I said in the Quran, in three ways. Through what? Revelation, through angels, and through men giving up on the signs in the creation. Now how people of the outer way, or the way that they've been brought to come to this experience of relationship to A.H.A.D, can truly bear witness now by what you're explaining to us, to come to know that the Lord is real. Because they all have the Lord in abstract concepts in their mind. The Lord is like the Muslim, the Lord is on his throne out there, not near to you here. Or like Allah said in the Quran, is near to you in your jugular vein. But they said, I know what Allah said in the Quran, but how do I bear witness to that?
The way, you see, the Lord, one of the things that people do is they misconstrue what the Lord has sent down.
Right.
They allow other beings to confuse it for them, and they confuse it for themselves. That's because they take the Lord for granted, and they take His covenant for granted. You understand? They approach it wrong. They don't approach it with the seriousness that they need to approach it with, and they don't seek to understand it in its fullness on a continuous basis. And they get involved in the religion, and then they let the men and jinn and the people of the religion itself, the common folk, take them out by their opinions and their own weaknesses and misconceptions of it. And then they think that they still favored by the Lord like they were when it brought them in. While they're not favored, because now they've taken up the ways of man, and they forget about witness bearing every day. They forget about seeking to see it in its signs, and seeking to recognize it in its signs. Look at the Muslims. How could billions of Muslims allow a few translators to take words away from the Arabic of the Holy Quran, and you got billions or millions or whatever it is of Muslims that speak Arabic, knowing that the translation has been made faulty. And then they accept someone saying, well, we can't translate that in English. When when Allah is clearly said, well, they took out the word noon. That which is to be acknowledged, that which is to be recognized, that which is to be made known in all its things, that which you to announce to yourself that there it is. I recognize you in your works. Because the Lord works in everything. Without the Lord, it don't exist, whatever it may be. The Lord must be in the essence of a thing for it to actually be. So how could they allow them to take that out and therefore take out the guidance about the followers or the believers looking to recognize the presence of the Lord right then and there? That is because you got people who don't want you to recognize the presence of the Lord, because the presence of the Lord represents His power, its leadership, its government, its lordship. You understand? It's dominion. And they don't want you to recognize that. They want you to recognize them. And for their ego and their selfishness, they think that they lose sight and forget, You understand? And they forget the covenants of the Lord. Then, once they forget the covenant of the Lord, they're not approaching the Lord no more. They just got a label. I'm Muslim, I'm Jew, I'm Christian, I'm this, I'm that, I'm blah, 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 blah. But they're not approaching the Lord no more. They stand in their positions, maybe approaching something else. And they're not seeking to bear witness, and they're not seeking to give the witness-bearing oath on a daily basis, to recommit themselves every day. If you forget every day and many times a day, why not recommit yourself every day and many times a day?
But nobody, in those houses of worship, they're not giving that understanding for my ease so to come to that realization. What you speaking about, but people, I know one brother, we was talking the other day, matter of fact, and we talked on the phone. He said, I want to learn how to pray. And I said, brother, what brought you this far has always been your prayer. But he wanted the formal format now. Yeah. And many times when people come to the path or they come to the religion, and that openness and sincerity of heart trying to come to the Lord, that's when they're open. This is when they get to religion. That's when they get shut down. That's when they become boxed in. Yeah. And that's where they lose. That's what I'm
and see, the thing about it is most of the leaders of religions are not divine individuals. Right. They're not divinely touched. They're not divinely guided. How can anybody send you to a school of thought and then make you a representative of the Lord Most High and give you the divine cloth to say, I'm this, I'm that, like the Holy Father, the Pope, the imams who claim divinity, the sheikhs who claim nearness? You know, how can a man appoint you as a representative? Look at the man who called himself the divine reminder. Okay, if you attach divine to your title of reminder on it, that means that the holy, Allah is the holy. Right. The holy has appointed you and reminds through you. Right. It reminds through you because it is the only divine thing. The only thing that makes the prophets divine and makes them lords is the Lord itself, the divine being itself. But you got men running around calling themselves lords of this, lords of that, Lord, Lord, Lord. Right. Gods of this, gods of that, God, God, gods. Huh? And then you got some that is so in the dark of ignorance and confusion that they call themselves Allah by name. Yeah, true. Itself. You know, you have to be very mindful of even taking a family name, El-Amin.
Yeah, that's true.
The all eternal, infinite mind.
Yeah, yeah.
The breath of mind. That's the originator of creation. The Amen is the originator of creation. And you call yourself El-Amin? You know?
One thing.
It might seem technical, it might seem strict, but you need to be strict and you need to be technical. You need to be mindful of the warnings of the Lord Most High, because whatever title you wear, that's what you will be judged by.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was getting ready to say. A lot of these people change their name, whether it's legally or by the states of this land or in the courts or what have you, or just take it on, but they never revisit their name and try to live in light of the name. It just becomes a name. It just becomes a habit. It just becomes a fad.
With some people, but with some other people, it becomes their calling card.
I know.
It becomes their egoistic title.
Right.
You know, look at my name. Like I knew a guy who called himself the greatest, one worthy of praise, the greatest, Akbar Muhammad Akbar. Yeah. Now that's deep. You the great, one worthy of praise, the great. Allah is the great, and Allah is the one worthy of praise. Yeah. You understand? But because of the misconception of Islam and what the Arabs have done to misguide people away from it so that they can maintain power and control, that's the men and jinn that Muhammad talked about. Right. You understand? Muhammad will be fighting against them if he was here today. They wouldn't name themselves by Allah's attributes. You understand? And then they wouldn't limit Allah, just like they limit Allah to 100 attributes. They wouldn't limit Allah. How you gonna limit the eternal infinite mind?
Yeah.
You know, how many people look at the Lord as a mind? How many people look at creation as being mental? A mental image of that mind. Mental reflections of that mind. We're so tied up into what we think is real of our own selves that we can't see the reality. We think that we are the most real aspect of our own being. When somebody say, "Oh, you know, we are all illusions," they say, "What is he talking about? Illusion? You know, like magic? Come on! What you think? This is a circus?"
Right.
You need to understand the words.
Yeah.
You think you are, but if the Lord is the one that know you are not. Without it,
right. No existence, right.
You know, so it is the one that really is. And it reflects itself in everything. That's why I say created the world in love. People think, it loved me, so it created. No, it created the creation out of love for itself.
Right. Right. Yeah, right.
And it loved to reflect itself.
Right.
So it reflects itself in everything.
Right.
You know, but people want to take it like, well, the Lord loves me personally, individually. Aside from everybody else, I'm most important.
Yeah.
You know, because it loves me. Oh, yeah, okay.
But what I used to do when it broke down through you about the personal relationship, how it relates to each individual personally.
It can.
You know, the Lord of all this creation, all the Lord of all that exists.
Mm-hmm.
So that sometimes people down the other side of that coin is like that the Lord do hear me, see me, relate to me, and to them that becomes amazing in of itself because the Lord of all this still recognizes each one of his.
Those are the ones that takes it most seriously because you got some who think the Lord relate to them all the time, and the Lord is not relating to them in the way that they think is relating to them. They draw up a picture and you know, and they say, well, the Lord loves me. Look how many factions of religious people all say that they the saved ones, they the chosen ones, they the favored ones.
Yeah.
Everybody can't be that.
Right.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So who's right and who's wrong? When the Lord sent down his covenant, and it says his covenant is for all times.
Right.
By right, I could take the covenant that the Lord gave to Adam and Eve, and I could utilize that covenant and be right with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find that original covenant.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the one men put their hands in.
Yeah.
You know? And see, one thing that men do, that they accept the devil because the devil paint up beautiful pictures. I asked the question, let's go back to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Why the snake? And why the apple? Okay? First of all, the snake is representative of not something evil.
Right.
Everybody always want to relate evil because it was connected with the devil. Right. But the snake represents a creature of creation, creature of hell, that bows so low.
Okay.
His body is to the ground.
Right.
Now, the symbol of that serpent is the angels. They are the highest thing.
Okay.
And they bow lower than the snake.
Okay. Okay.
In their service to Allah. To the Lord El. That's why the serpent is a symbol of the angels. And the Lord didn't say there was the snake is evil and it's in the garden. It said there's a snake in the garden. Beware. One who has fallen.
How about this? Okay, yeah. I was about to say that.
Huh?
Which was right. Who was it? Angel with the three.
One who has fallen.
Right.
But it's a snake. Okay? So Allah was saying there's a fallen angel in the garden.
Okay.
Beware. And Allah said, I'll give you this whole garden.
Right.
But in the center there's a tree. A tree that's full of fruit. And the fruit bears knowledge of good and evil. Right. Okay. What's so dangerous about the knowledge of good and evil? Well, if we look at our growth as a child, we're completely innocent. We're completely of Allah until we grow up to a point where we start investigating The differences in knowledge. The differences in our experiences.
Right.
We start looking at the good and the bad. Now we got choices to make. Uh-oh.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Now we gonna choose. When you start thinking about choosing, you start thinking about choosing against the righteous.
Right. Yeah.
But as a child, all you know is everything is one. Your only interest is in being fed.
Right.
Huh? That spiritual food, mental food, physical food, whatever, to be whole with something, which is your mother.
Right, okay.
A part of the whole. But when that you take that tree, here you go with all this knowledge, and then you start breaking away and breaking in parts. Well, I choose this and I choose that. I choose this over that.
Right.
Now you starting to thin out the knowledge. You're diluting it with all these other things. And your awareness, your memory of that wholeness becomes diluted.
So in that aspect, then you start to become inwardly divided.
Inwardly divided. Now you are an individual.
Okay.
When you came forth, you was one of the whole.
Okay.
Now you are individual.
Wow, okay.
Inwardly divided. Now why the apple?
Yeah, but
Devil always take the truth and try to twist it. Take the beautiful things. Wake up there.
Yeah.
Take the beautiful things and try to tempt you with it. Remember the old saying, apple a day keeps the doctor away?
Right.
Haven't you experienced that? You eat an apple and it keeps you well?
Yeah.
You can feel bad and you eat an apple and seem like something come about in you. Why not an orange? Why not a plum? Why not a cherry? A grape? Why an apple? Because that apple is significant to good health.
Okay. Yeah.
So the devil said to Eve, the one who was most emotional and physically materializing her mind, here, look at this beautiful apple. Take a bite. Take a bite. For her inquisitiveness, she said, no, the Lord said don't eat of that tree. I said, oh, that's because the Lord don't want you to know what it knows. What I know. Look at this beautiful garden. What do you know about it? All you see is a garden. But there's knowledge in here. Really? It's something else? There we go with all the information. All the information to confuse you now. Now, you need a guide.
Right.
Because the garden is no longer safe for you. You need to be told at every turn, don't go this way, don't go that way, go this way, go that way. Because now you got this knowledge of all these things. And you got fear. Right. Because now you know there's some things in here that can hurt me.
Right, exactly.
Huh? You lost your protection. Because as a child, you got a protection. Someone always watching over you.
Right, okay.
You know?
So when I either given that scenario, when it broke down, after they both took of the apple, now when the Lord speaks to them and said, according to scripture, they hid themselves from the Lord. The Lord didn't see him. Who told you was naked? The one in the garden.
Right.
So they try to cover themselves with the leaves. Now the leaves representative of the non-information?
Yeah, the leaves represented the information. So now they try to cover themselves with leaves. Leaves of what? Leaves of this tree that gives you the knowledge of good and evil. Let me cover myself with the leaves and maybe I won't be seen in my nakedness.
And at the same time...
And like you said, the Lord said, how do you know you're naked?
Right. So now
you can see now?
Right. But I either use the same, like you said, when the devil take things into the negative. But I either says, like in the Quran again, it sends down the wisdom on the leaves of the books.
Yes.
Of the guidance, the books of guidance.
Yes.
The pages of Abraham and Moses, for example.
Yes.
Torah and what it gave to Abraham and what it gave to Jesus.
Right.
So now again, Allah back to the leaves. Allah's taking it back from what the devil had made it to 180 or the negative side of it, and put it back to where I always sit down information on parchment or paper.
Yeah, on the leaves. See, the garden represents knowledge. The garden, people think the garden represents paradise. The garden don't represent paradise.
Okay.
The garden represents knowledge. And water, pass that around over here to me. And water represents knowledge.
Right. Okay.
But there's different types of knowledge.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
You have worldly knowledge and you have spiritual knowledge. Okay? And the garden is of the world.
How about, okay.
And with water flowing beneath your feet, Allah said in the Holy Quran.
Yeah.
With water, with spiritual knowledge flowing, in other words, by flowing beneath your feet, meaning you sitting above it, you sitting in mastery of it.
Okay.
And it is the master. It is the mastery of it. You sitting in it.
Okay. Right.
You see? So, it's like, I mean, in order for you to fully understand what's written in Scripture, you have to get it from the Lord. In order for you to get it from the Lord and recognize, you have to understand that the Lord is that which is to be recognized in all things. That which is present, ever present. That which is all hearing, hear your words. All knowing, know your actions. All seeing, seeing everything you do. Seeing the thoughts of your mind. Now how subtle, more subtle can you get? You know? We're going to let Holy Queen Mother speak because Holy Queen Mother trying to pull a number over here. I didn't know she was coming to go to sleep. See how she trying to do us? She coming to go to sleep.
No, what you're saying goes right back to the beginning of where you started from. That knowing that you're going to be tried and it's into your shahada, the witness bearing, into reconnecting that witness bearing at all times when you're aware of that, and to recognize Allah in what you're doing. And so in Islam, when people come into Islam, they really have a sense of, I made it, and that's it. And they stop
because that's another point I wanted to make.
And they take. I think one of the great problems is that the Muslim leaders don't make them recognize that the Quran is a lie. The Quran is...
Well, like I was saying to Brother Idris, if the leaders are not of the divine, if the leaders are not practicing properly, if the leaders standing up there talking the words of Allah and feeling pompous and proud, he's an evil leader.
Right.
And we have many like that. You got imams that fight over leadership. They be in the masjids and they will fight. I've known them to fight. You got Christian ministers in their organization, their institutions, doing each other in.
Yeah.
You know, now, I wouldn't fight nobody for this position I got. Right. That's you? Y'all want to listen? I gently step aside and keep servicing my Lord.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight.